an oral history interview conducted for the Witness to War Serving a Nation project at Nauset Regional High School on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. For the sake of this interview, please state your full name and community in which you now reside.
My name is Howard Kucks, and I live in Orleans, Massachusetts.
Okay, so now we're going to begin the interview. Where did you grow up and how was it like there?
I grew up on Long Island. I was born in Brooklyn. When I was 3, we moved to Long Island. My folks moved to Long Island, and I went to a high school that was probably twice or 3 times bigger than this high school. And I graduated from high school and went to college in New York State. And then I went into the United States Marine Corps.
Okay. How did you end up living on Cape Cod?
I've always wanted to live here. My grandfather was born up the road here by Nauset Light. If you've ever heard of the French cable station, they were out by Nauset Light. And in 1890 they moved into Orleans. My great-grandfather was the superintendent at the cable station. My grandfather, as a young man, 18 years old, went to New York City to work for the cable company and ended up living in Brooklyn. And my mother was raised in Brooklyn, and I was born in Brooklyn, and I moved out to Long Island. So we always used to vacation up here, and I always wanted to live here, but I never could figure out how to earn a living up here. So I had to retire before I came up.
Yeah. What made you want to join the military?
Well, when I was 22 years old, graduating from college, there was a draft. And you might or might not be drafted. A couple of my college friends went into the Navy to fly. I thought I was going to do that too, but I'm colorblind, so they said, "Thank you very much. We don't need you." So I volunteered for the Marine Corps.
So you weren't drafted, or did you
No,
enlist?
I was not drafted. I volunteered for the Marine Corps.
What branch of service did you serve in?
Well, I served in the Marine Corps, and I was an artillery officer.
What war did you serve in?
I was really a peacetime. I was discharged in 1964, and that was just before they had a big involvement in Vietnam. I'm considered a Vietnam veteran, although I never served in Vietnam.
So, did you go to boot camp?
Oh, yes, I did.
And how was that training experience?
And how was what?
How was your training experience?
Well, the Marines do a very good job of training. I didn't go to boot camp. That's the enlisted people go down to Parris Island. I went to the OCS, Officer Candidate School, in Quantico, Virginia. And I spent 12 weeks there and graduated as a second lieutenant. The Marine Corps is unique. They have a training program after that for all the young officers. And it's a 6-month school. It's called the basic school. And you really felt comfortable when you came out of there leading the troops. And from there I went to artillery school for my specialty.
Okay. Where exactly did you go and what did you do? So where did you live?
Well, I was assigned to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. That's the 2nd Marine Division. The Marines have 3 divisions, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The 1st is in Camp Pendleton, California. The 3rd is in Okinawa, Japan, and the 2nd is down in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was assigned there, and I was immediately shipped out aboard ship for 6 months in the Mediterranean, assigned to a battalion of infantry Marines, and our job was to be on station in case anything happened over in the Mediterranean. Then when I returned after that 6-month cruise, I was stationed in North Carolina doing various jobs on the base.
What jobs would you do?
Well, I came back. I volunteered to be the adjutant of the battalion. I belonged to E Battery, 2nd Battalion, 10th Marines, and the adjutant works with commanding officer, running the office and doing the paperwork and all the logistics that is necessary to run an organization like that. And I also, the last 6 months I was there, worked with 2 other officers running the range, artillery range.
What were a couple of your most memorable experiences when you served?
I think the training we got was very good. It's held me in good stead through my civilian career. They teach leadership, they teach self-responsibility, they teach how to get along with others and how to get the job done. I think those are the things that I learned the most. The experience of being aboard ship in the Mediterranean was very interesting because in a month, but roughly 10 days, the Navy steamed around and did their thing. In 10 days, we made actual landings, simulated landings, and in 10 days we went on Liberty, port and starboard Liberty. So I got to see a good bit of the Mediterranean as a young person. I spent Christmas in Athens. So I also spent Thanksgiving on the beach in Libya. You know, Libya is not a very nice place right now. It's in turmoil, but it's desert. And it was very interesting to see that.
How old were you when you enlisted?
I was 23.
Okay. Were you awarded any medals or citations?
No, just the shooting medals that I earned. As I said, I was a peacetime Marine, and we weren't in any conflict. The closest we all came was the Cuban Missile Crisis, but if you probably read in your history books, the Marines were down, we weren't down there, everybody else was down there, but they never did have to land. They just were offshore on the ships.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Unlike today, it was the old U.S. Post Office. And when I was overseas, the mail came, but it took a long time to get there and a long time to get out. When on the base, of course, we had telephone contact.
Who was the president at the time?
John F. Kennedy. And I can remember like it was yesterday, I was walking down the passageway and this young corporal who worked for me ran the security. I was responsible, as adjutant, I was responsible for the secret and confidential paperwork, and he ran that room for me, and he said, "Lieutenant," he said, "the president's been killed." I said, "What are you talking about?" Because he had a radio in there. And he said, "No, sir." He said, "The President Kennedy has been shot." And it was just amazing to me. I just couldn't believe it, like everybody else.
Yeah. What would you do to entertain yourself when you were at your base? Or on the base?
Yeah, I lived on the base. It was right on the ocean. It's very hot down there in the summer. So we used to go to the beach a lot because it was so blasted hot and humid. You take the hottest day we have here on Cape Cod and add a little heat to that, and it goes on for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Did you feel a lot of pressure or stress in the role that you were in?
No, not really. As I said, we received very good training, and everybody knew their job, everybody did their job, and it was rather easy from that point of view.
Do you recall any humorous or unusual events that happened in your time of service?
No, it's just, no, not really.
What did you think of the other soldiers or officers?
Well, I was very lucky to be with the people I was with, whether they were a private or whether they were a colonel. They were very respectful to each other and well-trained and, as I said, very organized. Marine Corps is very organized.
Yes. Can you recall the day that your service ended and what did you do?
Yeah, it was just, can I recall it? I can remember December 15th, which is today.
Oh.
I was discharged and I proceeded to up to New Jersey where I had a job waiting for me.
What was your career after? After you were discharged?
Oh, after discharge. I worked for 2 pharmaceutical companies. I started off with Johnson & Johnson. I was a production supervisor in the production area. And then I moved over to Squibb, which is another company, and I was a training manager there. I was the employment manager, and most of the time I was a maintenance manager.
Mm-hmm.
We had 100 acres, 40 buildings, and there were 2 of us responsible for that,
mm-hmm.
for that assignment.
What did you do in the days or weeks afterwards? So like after your service ended, did you just go back to work?
You mean after I got out of the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Well, I went to work in New Jersey and raised my family and got involved in the usual things that families do.
Mm-hmm. Did you make any close friends while in service and you still keep in touch with them to this day?
No, I didn't. The only ones I keep track of is a couple that were in the service that were my fraternity brothers.
Mm-hmm. Did your military experience affect the way you looked at war?
It's dirty business, there's no question about that. But it's very essential to keep our way of life. We're experiencing now these terrorist attacks all over the world, and our military men and women who are serving now, thank God for them. I really appreciate what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in this interview that I did not go over that you would like to go over? Maybe like another memorable experience or something that I just didn't go over?
Well, it's just I've been active in the Marine Corps League here on Cape Cod. It's an organization of former Marines. Marines are kind of unique. They're not ex-Marines, they're not former Marines, they're Marines, they're till they die. Mm-hmm. And we have a burial detail. Unfortunately, people die, where we give a final gun salute and play taps. I've been involved in part of that for the last 15 years mm-hmm. here on the Cape. So
it's kind of like a veterans club kind of?
Yeah, you have the American Legion, the VFW, the Marine Corps League is just former Marines, whereas the American Legion is military people from all the services.
Yes, okay, I need to check the time.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you so much for coming to Nauset Regional High School and letting me interview you and your experience in the service that you've done. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Well, thank you very much.
And what is this?
Just read it. It's a poem.
Did you write this?
I didn't write it. Down in Washington, D.C., the Marine Barracks, they have if you're ever down there, in the summertime on Friday nights, they have a parade and retreat. And a sergeant, how's this go now? A sergeant spoke to the group and recited that poem, and we always liked it. So that's for you to keep.
Thank you. Could you read it for this interview?
The United States Marine take a pair of combat boots and fill them with a man running on the grinder excuse me, until he's lean and tan. Dress him up in camis and roll the sleeves up neat. Sprinkle him with sand or snow and add some tropical heat. Drive him up the mountain with motivated men. Dip him in muddy swamp and scrub him clean again. Season him with discipline, for this is he must not lack. Instill him with esprit de corps and pat him on the back. Fall him out in greens or blues, and he will do the rest. Brand him with the name Marine, for he's our country's best.
Okay, thank you. And these are your pictures?
And I have some pictures here. I told you my grandfather was born here